Let's talk about like how you've scaled this thing in terms of culture, though. Which is like, early days, culture is something that's probably quite a bit different than it is now. Yeah. How do you think about culture? How much of your day is spent thinking about that?
I think, it's one of my top two priorities as the CEO. And so you have to build an executive team around you that you trust explicitly and that you can think strategically and be focused on the culture and the health of the business. And I've found that whenever I get away from that, it's an enormous problem. Because it's your people that take care of your customers. And I think as an early CEO, I made the mistake of I was focused on sales, then I was focused on customers, and I think those are all very important pieces. But if you focus, number one, on employees and culture, those other pieces come into place. And so I have 5 core kind of principles around culture that I am emphatic about. And so one is transparency. So if you really, really want to build great trust between employees and employer, you have to be transparent. You have to share information. We hired a new CFO based on the East Coast, and he just completed 2 IPOs. He's had an incredible run, 5 exits at his last employer alone. Like multiple private equity firms exited, took it from 50 to 3,000 employees in IT services. And one of the things that's interesting is he said, I am unbelievably uncomfortable with the level of transparency. And so what's interesting or different about Simplus is we have an open executive meeting every Tuesday afternoon. And our top 6 metrics of the company, every single employee in the company knows them. So when it comes to a trust level between us, everybody knows and has a pulse. So if there's a hard week, we all know. If there's a great week, we all know. But we're all in it together, and there's a level of deeper transparency than I think what is typical. The next thing I think that is really, really important is collaboration. Early in my career, I remember I had a CEO who used to always say, work hard, play hard. And then I remember 2 employees playing ping pong, and he just ripped them apart. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. So one of the core values of this company is work hard, play hard, and you're shredding somebody for playing a little bit of ping pong, right? If you're the CEO, like if you have values, you better live those values or your employees are not going to believe in you as a leader. And so I think that you have to believe in those values and you have to encourage collaboration among each other. I know that when I enjoyed my job the very most is when I had really good friends there that I enjoyed being with every day. So, we have Slack channels, where people post just about dogs. And I think it's awesome. Like I encourage that because that's something you can connect with somebody about outside of work. And I think like an old school CEO would be like, hey, you're wasting time. And I think it's actually the opposite. I think you're going to produce better work when you feel like other people care about the things you care about. Yeah. So I think collaboration's number 2, transparency number 1. And I think clarity is a huge one. If the CEO is not able to paint a vision for the future of the company and get the company rallied around it, then there's going to be silos of people that they're going to break off. And they're going to say, what are we doing here and why are we doing it? And so if you can't paint this really clear vision and brand it and everybody knows what it is. Like if you ask, I think we could ask from the crowd if there's any Simplus employees. They can all tell you what it is that we want to accomplish over the next 4 years. So, like, for example, Adam Wardell, what is the vision of Simplus?
We want to become a global strategic disruptor for the world by 2020.
That's right. So we want to be a global contender by 2020.
How awesome would it have been if he got it wrong, though? How many of you are rooting for him to get it wrong?
If he did it wrong, it would have been my fault. So I think the vision is very, very important. And then the 4th thing is people need to understand what's in it for them. And that's what it goes back to, your actual career development, caring about their career, and really helping them understand why that vision is important to their life. If you can't connect those 2, that's another problem. And then the last one is fun. You gotta have fun while we're doing this. Life is too short and we spend way too many hours at work. So, one of our last meetings, I showed up in a NASA space helmet and I wore it the whole meeting. And we asked our employees to just wear goofy hats. I mean, that's the thing is, how much does that cost? For an entrepreneur to just say like, hey, what do you guys want to do that's kind of fun besides come to this meeting and get an update? That's not that hard to just have fun and enjoy yourselves while you're doing it. So I think that would be my fifth thing, is just have fun while you're doing it, and it doesn't have to be expensive to have fun.